He's the man without fear and is quickly becoming one of Marvel's most popular heroes.
You sure about that?
I'd bet my life on it.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 Daredevil facts.
Are you aware that perjury is a crime, Mr. Casada?
For this list, we're focusing on more real-world facts, as opposed to looking at specific plot points that occurred in the films or comics.
Apply enough pressure, someone will break. Sooner or later.
Number 10, Spider-Man's shadow.
Thanks. You saved me.
Actually, I was saving Peter Parker.
Excuse me?
Most avid comic book fans are aware that Daredevil and Spider-Man are good friends in the comics. One of the main factors behind their strong friendship is how similar the two characters are, especially since both of them are based in New York.
Catch you later. I've got to check on our friend.
In fact, when Daredevil was first introduced, he was considered a lame Spider-Man knockoff. Daredevil even has his own form of spidey sense, allowing him to locate villains and criminals despite being blind. The pair also tend to face similar villains, with characters like the Kingpin being considered a major villain to both heroes.
This is no game, I assure you. It is a demonstration of what is going to happen to the real Spider-Man.
Number 9, his costume used to be yellow.
You want a suit? Like Mr. Fisk?
No, I want something very special.
Like most superheroes, Daredevil is instantly recognizable by his iconic costume. But what you may not know is that his original costume wasn't actually red. It was yellow. More accurately, it was a combination of yellow, black, and red.
Not everyone deserves a happy ending.
Due to poor sales numbers, however, Marvel decided to make several changes to the character, which included changing his costume to the red version we know and love today.
Where is the other one?
Right here, Kingpin. And the name's Daredevil.
It was later revealed that Daredevil had made the original yellow costume from his dad's boxing gear. Number 8, Ben Affleck originally auditioned for Bullseye.
Go to hell. Diablo. Okay. But you'll beat me there.
Ben Affleck's portrayal of the Man Without Fear received a lot of criticism from fans of the comics. But would things have been different if he had been cast as Bullseye instead? Probably not, but that was the character whom Affleck initially auditioned for.
I don't like being touched.
Why don't you tell me what you do like, and we'll start there, okay?
In another weird twist, before the studio decided to cast Affleck as Daredevil, they considered casting Colin Farrell, the man who would eventually play Bullseye.
First one's a warning. Padre.
Vin Diesel, Guy Pearce, and Matt Damon all turned down the role before it was eventually given to Affleck. Maybe casting the guy who wanted to play another character and was your fifth choice wasn't the best decision? Oh well.
You are so beautiful.
Number 7, he is based on a prototype for Batman.
This is way past what I signed up for.
What exactly do you think that was?
You might find it hard to believe that Daredevil, who was created in the 1960s, served as a prototype for Batman, a character that has been around since the 1930s. But it's actually true.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
The original Batman comics were very lighthearted and goofy. It wasn't until Frank Miller took over that Batman adopted his Dark Knight persona. Before he began writing Batman comics, however, Miller worked on Daredevil, transforming him into one of Marvel's most popular characters by incorporating darker themes and storylines. Essentially, Miller used his experience from writing Daredevil to mold his version of the Dark Knight.
You're under arrest, mister! You just crippled that man!
He's young. He'll walk again. But you'll stay scared, won't you, punk?
Number 6, Stan Lee had reservations about introducing the character.
Sometimes we have to do things we aren't proud of.
Yeah, but this can't become what we do.
Like many of Marvel's famous heroes, Daredevil was created by Stan Lee, with the help of Bill Everett and the one and only Jack Kirby. Lee was nervous about creating a blind character, however, as he feared that the series might offend the blind community by creating a character that could do things that they couldn't. He eventually decided to do it, but told Marvel executives that if there was any sort of backlash, he would immediately scrap the character. Luckily, the character didn't receive any criticism, but that hasn't prevented the writers from trying to distance Matt Murdock from ordinary blind people.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay, I find a guy in a dumpster who turns out to be some kind of blind vigilante who can do all this really weird shit.
Number 5, a real-life mugging is why Frank Miller gave the stories a serious tone.
She's gonna spray you.
Maybe I take that away from you.
When Frank Miller took over the series in the early 1980s, he changed the tone of the series to the dark and serious one we know today. One of the biggest changes he made was putting a lot more focus on street crime. The reason for this change? While working on the series, Miller was mugged twice in New York City.
Jesus, what happened to your eye?
Oh, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just wasn't paying attention last night.
Miller was quoted in saying, "After I got mugged, I was really eager to see criminals shot on sight." Thus, he gave readers a superhero who wasn't afraid to cripple street thugs.
It'd be a shame for you to have to watch what they do to him.
Number 4, Daredevil indirectly helped create the Avengers.
I'm here to talk to you about the Avenger Initiative.
Although Daredevil would turn down an invitation to join the Avengers on multiple occasions, the team may never have existed without him. Marvel was in full panic mode when they realized that Daredevil #1 wasn't going to be ready in time for print, even though the artists had been working on the comic for over 6 months. Desperate and facing a tight deadline, Stan Lee suggested that they group several existing Marvel characters together to create a team.
What have I to fear? The Avengers. That's what we call ourselves, sort of like a team. Earth's mightiest heroes.
This would allow the characters to jump right into a brand new series without needing an origin story. The rest, as they say, is history. Number 3, Daredevil inspired the creation of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I can't see! I can't see!
Created by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were actually intended to be a sort of homage to Daredevil, among several other comics. There are many direct allusions to the Daredevil series, most of which relate to the origins of the Turtles.
I came upon a shattered glass jar and 4 baby turtles.
That was us. Shut up. Oh, no.
In fact, the origin story is essentially the same. As in both comics, a canister full of radioactive material flies off the back of a truck and gives the characters their respective powers. Furthermore, Splinter, the Turtles' mentor, is an homage to Stick, Daredevil's sensei.
Anger is a spark, good. Rage is a wildfire.
And finally, Daredevil's ninja villains, the Hand, inspired the Foot Clan.
I'm not so sure if this is, structurally speaking, such a good time for your buddies to drop in.
Number 2, there was another hero called Daredevil in the 1940s.
I'm gonna kill you!
Take your shot.
Lev Gleason Publications beat Marvel to the punch when they introduced a character called Daredevil in September of 1940. Similar to Captain America, this version of Daredevil helped America fight the Nazis during World War II.
You don't hear me whining about it, do you?
No.
Although this character is a completely separate entity from Marvel's Daredevil, it is interesting to note that both characters share a disability. Instead of being blind, however, this character is deaf. Of course, the Man Without Fear has long overshadowed this version of Daredevil.
What if it already has?
Then we wouldn't be sitting here, would we?
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Number 1, Daredevil number 47 is Stan Lee's favorite comic.
I never studied. Look where it got me.
Stan Lee was one of the creators of Daredevil, but it isn't the series he's best known for. In fact, the series wouldn't really take off until Frank Miller took over in the 1980s. Despite this, Lee has stated that Daredevil number 47 is his favorite comic book. The story begins with Daredevil visiting American troops in Vietnam. He ends up meeting a former cop who is unjustly discharged and then blinded while fighting. Feeling sympathetic to his cause, Matt Murdock takes the soldier's case and clears his name. Even if it's not the most epic superhero story of all time, it is about as human and humble as they come. Do you agree with our list?
There's something not right about this case. I can feel it.
What's your favorite Daredevil fact? For more great top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
You've never done this before?
If you were to hire us, then yes, you would be our first client.